What's up everyone, this is Minnie and today I'm coming at you with my recommended unique upgrades in the Research Bureau. Now before we get into the video, a quick reminder, don't forget to like the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel to help me keep making great content. About 70% of you watching aren't subscribed yet, so make sure to hit that button. Now, if you haven't already watched, I recommend watching before this video my overview of the Research Bureau so you understand how you get the points to unlock this if you aren't familiar. If you already are familiar, great, let's jump into it. And last but not least, quick reminder, this is going to be my 6 recommended unique upgrades. I'm not saying that the other unique upgrades aren't good, but in my opinion, and thanks to the BONKS members and the SCCC members and such that I talked to about this as well to get some feedback on, these are the 6 unique upgrades that I feel are the most important to consider getting. So we're going to start with the 2 that occur in slot 5. Now, way unique upgrades work, if you're not familiar, is they do take up a slot in your equipment. So instead of the standard ones in slot 5 or slot 6, you have to put one of these in. So you lose access to the normal ones, but you gain access to some things that are better. So the first unique upgrade in slot number 5 I like to recommend is the Hirugamos one. This is additional smoke generators, and this is a really, really good unique upgrade to take. You get an extra consumable of everything, so not just the smokes, but anything else. You also get the 100% smoke generator consumable action time, so it doubles the length of your smoke generator, and it increases your smoke screen dispersion time by another 30%. This one is especially valuable if you're going to play in competitive modes, especially tournaments like King of the Sea, because this gives you the ability to smoke up your cruisers and get them to positions you couldn't otherwise get them to, as well as giving you a much larger smoke screen to move back and forth in to spam fire onto the enemy if you need to be burning something down. Now, the disadvantage to taking this mod, even though you get the extra consumables, the double length smoke generator consumable time, and the increased dispersion time, is the fact that you lose concealment mod 1. So you're losing that 10% concealment boost that you typically get by taking that in slot 5. But in a competitive form, in a competitive spot, this definitely is worth taking. Randoms, you may not find as much use, but in competitive clan battles and King of the Sea, you'll definitely find a lot of use. Next up, also in slot 5, is the unique mod for the gearing. Now, this is in slot 5 as well. Ship detectability range is decreased by 15%. But you do lose, you gain 15% longer main battery reload time. Your torp tubes are increased by 5% reload time as well. However, the dispersion of shells fired at you by enemies is lowered by 5%. Now, where this comes into use for you is this is really great for staying undetected. When you add this along with the concealment skill on a captain, you're going to get your concealment down to about 5.6, 5.7 kilometers, which means that you're going to be one of the lowest detect ships in the game. And so that you can use this to get into positions you otherwise couldn't get into. It does stink to get the increased reload time on the main battery, but it's not that major a deal. And because you're getting 15% lower detectability, you're actually not losing out on anything with the concealment mod you can't take in slot 5, because you're getting a 5% buff on that. And so this one's really nice because it makes it harder for your ship to be hit. You get super low detectability, and the reload time isn't that big of a nerf in return for the bonuses you're getting. Next up, let's talk about the slot 6 unique upgrades you should consider taking. The first slot 6 unique upgrade that you should consider taking is the Yamato. Now, the Yamato gives you a 7% lower shell dispersion. So your guns are going to be 7% more accurate on where you click, just like when we had the Deadeye days with the 10% buff. Now, you are going to get, in return for that 7% better dispersion, you are going to have a 13% slower main turret traverse. And anybody that knows the Yammy knows that it has glacially slow turret traverse. However, you can balance out that loss by taking the Grease the Gears skill on your captain, which will be a net gain of 2% traverse speed because of the 15% versus the 13%. So, worth considering taking for that, and having the ability to absolutely murder any ship that gives you broadside or makes the slightest mistake because you have such great dispersion is a really nice thing to have. Next up, we have the Midway. Now, the Midway has a slot 6 upgrade that gives you 10% quicker bombers and causes the damage to be 10% greater on the bombs. I love this one. This is the first unique upgrade I ever bought because, first off, it takes your damage from 11,200 up to 12,320 per bomb. And you may say, Mini, that's not a lot. But remember, one, you're dropping 6 bombs. So that's about 7,200 extra potential damage per drop. And two, it helps you smash destroyers because it's usually 400 to 500 more damage on destroyers, which, when your destroyers have 20 to 30,000 health, means that you are taking out a couple extra % of health every time you hit, which is absolutely worth it on them. Furthermore, it also gets the bomber speed up to 144 knots, which is very, very nice when they start at 131 knots. And then, of course, you can bump that up more if you take the bomber speed 4-point skill for your captain. Also, I recommend the Moskva slot 6 unique upgrade. This one is one of my favorites. It's the second one I bought, and this gives you a lot of juicy stuff. So you get the 8% range increase. So this will take your range from 19.4 kilometers to 21 flat. And you have a 7% better main battery shell dispersion. So this means that when you're sitting there bowing, firing your front 2 guns, you are routinely hitting 4 or 5 shells instead of the 2 to 4 shells you hit without it, I've found in my experience. And then you have the 20% traverse speed nerf, which means that you do have your turrets turn time goes from 28.5 seconds to do 180 degrees to 35.6 seconds, which does stink, but once again, you can balance a little bit with grease the gears. But because the Moskva is so well designed to be able to sit there and bow tank, and you can now fire accurately with just 6 guns, it makes it absolutely worth it, in my opinion, to take it. Now, the final one that I recommend people consider getting as the earliest ones is the Des Moines. The Des Moines Enhanced Propulsion Plant is amazing. It's not as great as the old legendary mod Des Moines, but competitive Des Moines players that I've talked to swear by this still, because you get the 50% quicker time taken to reach full engine power when accelerating, which means that when you add prop mod in slot 4 and this in slot 6, you go from 0 to 27 knots in about 8 seconds. So your ability to speed juke the crap out of enemy battleships and cruisers that are trying to slap you is insane. Now, the downside is your rudder shift time goes up to 20%, but once again, you're not aiming to dodge by turning your ship, you're aiming to dodge by not being where their shots are due to speed. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that this video helped you with some recommendations on which unique upgrades to pick first when you're going for them. If you're wondering, Mini, what's the difference between the ships and the unique upgrades, where should I go? Keep an eye out when that video is posted on my entire ranking of everything you can get in the Research Bureau. Ships, flags, unique upgrades. It'll be posted in the description down below. But until then, don't forget to subscribe, and as always, this is Mini, signing off.